welcome to Melbourne Musos. I hope you can hear me. And this is a very special person to me here, playing and doing a sound check before he goes on tonight at the Collingwood Town Hall. This is Terry Bozzio. Oh, keep going, keep going. I have a good friend of mine here tonight. This is Alan Zavod. And Alan Zavod and Terry Bozzio are both Zappa veterans, and they'll be talking to each other back in the dressing room. Alan, would you like to say something for all the Melbourne Muso fans?
It's great to be here. There's a great musician here. We're going to look forward to having a chat.
Way to go, mate. Now, Terry, tell me, you've got, I'm just panning over, you've got a whole rack of toms here, and they have TB written on them.
Yes.
They are obviously meaning Terry Bozzio. Tell me all about your drum skins here.
Yeah, these are a Terry Bozzio model drum head by Attack. I was approached by Tom Shelley from Attack to design my own head, and so what this head does is it pairs the traditional Mylar sound that we've grown accustomed to since the 60s with a steel reinforced rim that helps, it's just a truer head. You can tune it better, it's got better stick response, the head is supported better so it lasts longer and things like that. So I'm very happy with them, and we're coming out with a full line of them, coated and coated clear like a DW head,
right,
and clear.
And tell me, what kind of tuning techniques do you do when you've got that whole row there?
Well, basically I've got a specific interval system that I tune to. It's in fourths, perfect fourths, all the way up to here. And I've got the snare, a major second above, which gives me a major second and a minor third here. Then a major second here, minor third here, and another major second.
Right.
And the bongos actually fit in between the minor thirds. So. And then, so basically, I've got some sort of an A mixolydian scale from here.
You tune your drums to A mixolydian, basically.
Yeah, this is an A.
That's unbelievable.
So I've got this. This is a little sharp. Should be more of a minor.
So you have various degrees of punching and violence to get your tuning just right.
Well, you know, with the skin head, unfortunately, it's anyone's guess what it's going to be like with the lights and the humidity and what have you.
Right.
I'm going to probably ace the bongos, put them somewhere else, and get another rack of 4/8s that we're developing with DW that are called piccolo toms, and they're single-headed toms. They're only about 1.5 inches thick. And those 8 will go here, and then I'll have an octave and a third of the white notes of the piano, and I can have all the different modes I can play in, so I should be able to take requests.
Do you play Temptation?
I can do Happy Birthday.
So it's really a tuning system.
Yeah, basically. I mean, aside from getting every head even within itself, tapping around, make sure all the overtones are basically at the same pitch, then I've got my specific tuning system. It's basically perfect fourths all the way up, and then some minor thirds and major thirds for pentatonic action. Because when you play melodic drums, you know, if you have fourths and then you transpose something, you still got a quartal type melody, and once again, you know, everything becomes samey. And I have about 3 hours of ostinato-oriented music, so you run out of melodic variation pretty fast. So that's why I'm going to go to the 8s, and that's why I really enjoy having the pentatonic stuff out here, because, you know, I can deal with different intervals instead of just the fourths all the time.
But you say some of these are tuned in thirds.
Yes,
so how do you change the basic notes, the bass note? Or can you change the key?
I mean, it depends. I've got some things that...
Give us a triad, for example. I see. Okay, so they become the bass notes for the triad.
Right, and then got an octave here.
Da da da. So you get the real oriental things.
Yeah. So. These are hard to kind of get the fundamental out, but Basically, it's
yeah. No,
sports.
that works. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a lot
and
of fun.
These guys are tuned as well.
Yeah, but I can't use them as much. That's why I was just explaining. I'm going to go to this series of another 4/8s here, and then I'll just be able to go da 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 da. And right now I've got this in between this minor third and this minor third. So I've got.
That's it.
So I
pure
basically
major
got
scale there.
Yeah, major scale. This should be
what
minor.
Key is that in?
It's A mixolydian. This is minor. Got
Oh yes, I did hear a G natural. Yeah, it's mixolydian.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
So it could almost be a G sharp. You know?
Well, this must be a C sharp, right? But it should be flatter. And like I said, with the lights and the humidity, there's no getting these to really stay.
It's still in there though. If you catch it with that kind of medium.
Well, there we go.
Yeah, that's fascinating. This is all really part of the becoming the sort of a complete drummer, so to speak.
Well,
they're not complete drummer in essence, but as you take it as being able to perform with drums alone, as a pianist would.
Yeah, exactly. This is the key, the key word, piano. You know, a piano player can play a bass line with his left hand and play chords or melody with his right hand. So I feel I'm doing nothing more than applying musical techniques that have been applied to keyboard playing for the past 200 or 300 years to the drum set. And the drum set is a very modern instrument. It's just a baby instrument. It had its, origins around the turn of the century and then was formalized into its, the drum set as we know it today around the 30s and the 40s. So that's like 65, 60 years old, something like that.
So really you're doing melodic counterpoints as well as this rhythmic, which is, a lot of people think drums is rhythmic.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm going to say later.
He's a musician or he's a drummer,
Right. I try and make music on the drums. I try and approach the drum set like a microcosmic orchestra. I try and deal with not only rhythm, but with melody, with harmony, with dynamics, with orchestration. Try and put it together in a package, which is the composition of the form.
Do you think of fugal form sometimes in that way?
That's a little bit deep for me.
Pretty deep.
What I just did, two-part counterpoint, is about as far as I've taken it so far. I've written out all the permutations of. I deal with melodic cells. I'll say, okay, where are all the places where I can do a 2, 3, 4 note melodic cell, ascending, descending.
Cell being a motive.
Yeah. No, I mean just like you would look at a scale, Okay, or I have, or a 5, and I,
You say cell, you mean the grouping?
A 5-note cell, melodic cell, a grouping of notes.
If I can jump in there, would that be sort of more like do you work with any kind of serial composing techniques when you're doing things like that?
No, not at this point.
Serial is atonal. This is very tonal.
But serialism could be applied in a tonal way to this concept. It's just beyond my capabilities at this point.
It's just I think it's a concept where you just don't repeat the notes. You have it, but you need more chromatics to go for it.
You can make a row. You can make a row out of say 7 notes. And then repeat always the shape of that notes. And because my intervals vary, the intervallic structure of it isn't going to be the same. But in terms of the doing something retrograde or inversion or forward or retrograde inversion, all those things could apply. And I mean those are things that I've mentioned in clinics and things like that. But it's just beyond my capabilities right now. I'll try and deal with the polyrhythmic and 2-part contrapuntal aspects of say doing an ascending 4-note grouping against let's say a cycling 5-note grouping. Like. And the cycle will be.
Where the 5 notes will be here.
Will be descending, Sorry, this will be cycling, so it'll go. These kinds of exercises. And when you cycle a 4-note grouping, it becomes 3. So then you've got sort of 3 against 4. So I could go. Yeah.
Did you change the rhythmic feel of it?
Exactly, and
the measure.
Right.
The division.
And
like
as we all
comparing it to
know,
a 5 rhythm against a 4.
Yes, exactly.
develops in a 3 feel on this side.
Well, depending on
Is that so?
which one you emphasize it, or where you're, if you delineate the time via an ostinato, say with your feet, then, this could be seen in different ways. And then, of course, the permutations become exponentially expanded when when you deal with the amount of notes per beat. Like I could do, like, right? And then keep single notes on this. Like, sorry. Let's see. Sorry, but these kinds of things are what I work with.
That would change the permutation, the rhythmic. You'd feel that that's a different time, a measure.
Yeah, it gives it a different polyrhythm,
Yeah. So what would you say was the difference in between counterpoint and polyrhythm?
Well, they basically have, if you have two separate rhythm patterns, even though they don't say, emphasize two different rhythmic groupings, let's say, it's still counterpoint. But if you have something that emphasizes a different rhythmic grouping than, say, the pulse rhythmic grouping, then you have polyrhythm, But they're sort of interchangeable on this level,
This is fascinating. So now I see you don't have any electronics now.
No, I did that in the 80s and got fed up with it, and I like the instant gratification.
You don't think there's use for it? Space for it?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I just don't have an affinity for it anymore, having burnt out on it. I'll leave that to someone else. I think it could be an incredible art form, and computer music and electronic music is a completely different art form. I've decided to just focus on the drum set acoustically, and those are the limitations I've set for myself.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, I had you to blame for the black page. I suffered with it in '84. This is my big chance to get him back. I had to learn that shit, and I had to memorize it, and I hated you. Loved you and hated you. No, that's great. We loved you. Frank used to take me back to this. We used to watch these videos of you when you were a kid doing this, singing and stuff. And he loved you.
Yeah, he was a real master. I was very lucky to have gotten to play with him.
Yeah, well, it was a great gig. I mean, it's just every style imaginable in it.
Yeah.
And the total freedom. I think after I got away from Frank, I never feared anything again. My first gig was a movie. I had the symphony orchestra and big bands, and I'd never done a movie. I didn't care. I was ready for anything after Frank, man.
That's right. Yeah.
It's great.
It's true. It's the University of Zappa, Jung talks about us having a fourfold,
Who's that?
Carl Jung, the
psychologist.
Jung. Yeah, he talks about man having, an intellectual nature, an emotional nature, physical nature, and a intuitive nature. And these are the 4 doors to the soul. Psyche means soul in Greek. So basically, any one of these things might color your attitude at any given point. And I strive for a balance between all those things, but emotionally or mentally, what I do at a certain point may not have anything to do with it. The way I feel or the way I think about something, really can change in time. And
of course.
And this is the thing about that. I'm thinking, I'm feeling, I'm sensing and intuiting certain things in order to do a performance, but then you take a back seat, and when you're sitting in your living room, and the adrenaline isn't flowing and you're not focusing that same way, the music takes on a completely different effect, and so therefore it's really stupid to judge anything you do, It's and on the intuitive level, he talks about intuition being something that ties us back to remote origins and ultimate outcomings, and this is where things that you do have a place that you might only realize at some point in the future. Why you did this on a certain night, why this happened, which was so uncomfortable for you at the time, was something for that was going to ultimately bring you to the place where you are at some point in the future.
So
some stepping stone in your.
You're saying then the outcome is definitely always related to the origin.
Yeah, it's all happening now, and it's all right.
Yeah. God, you
This
remind
is
me
it,
of Frank.
and this is good.
How did Frank influence you?
Oh man, you know, so many ways. I mean, God, he was, you know, look at the man. I mean, any one of the 5 things, you know, that he was a master of would have been enough to support a major career. You know, he was an incredible,
true. That's true.
An incredible
that is true.
band leader. Okay,
He was
an incredible
engineer.
guitarist. Yeah, an innovative engineer.
Yeah.
He was a composer of classical music. He was a rock star. You know, he was an incredible humorist, a satirist, and a wit. You know, he could go in front of the, you know, the House of Representatives or the Senate and deal with them on their level. You know, and not come off like a typical drug-taking, you know, brainless rock and roll guy.
Counterpoint work.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he was a brilliant.
We
character.
knew him, you know what he was like. Most people are quite bewildered; they have no idea.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, for me, I was 10 years younger than Frank. I had no experience whatsoever. I was lucky to get that gig, and the whole time, just, you know, I considered it an honor to just listen to what the guy was saying. Half of what he said, I didn't understand, and was too inhibited to even ask him what certain words meant. You know,
he was like Steve.
You know what I mean? He was a great guy, and I feel very, very lucky to have had that experience.
That's great. I had just spoke to Steve via in LA. We got together and we chatted a lot, and I told him how Frank used to show me. He'd shut up and play guitar albums and go, did I buy that? You know, he couldn't believe. He was amazed. I mean, he developed so many concepts from all this incredible work that Steve had done.
Yeah.
And I said, did he ever tell you that? He said, oh no, I would have been too terrified to have asked him that.
Yeah. Oh, I mean,
but I was only 4
moments.
years younger, and that's a lot closer than 10.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
we were
the thing.
friends. We were very good friends.
Yeah. I mean, he's, you know, for me, he was. You know, you talk about that fear, you know, that you were ready for anything after that. I realized I just went to LA and did some stuff there, and Gail said, well, you know, if you want to stay at the house, blah, 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 please, you know, come up. So I stayed a night up there, and I realized for the first time, I mean, he's been dead for over a year now, right? 2 years coming up, something like that?
93.
Or 3, rather, yeah.
Not 3, sure.
Yeah, I think it'll be 3 in December.
December 4th, 93.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the first time I went up there, and the fear was gone. That I wouldn't bump into him in one of the hallways and have him say, Bozzio, I've got this Broadway play. Here's a part for you. You know, it's got this part, you know, or here's the score to this new thing I'm doing. I really want you to play the drums on it. And I would have to, like, you know, do something I didn't think I could do and not have a life. Because, you know, when you're young, you can do that, you know?
Yeah.
You can, like, work for him when you don't, you know, have family ties and all these other responsibilities. But because it's like 8 hours a day for 3 months to rehearse for a tour, and then every sound check is a rehearsal, every night
sure
is
is.
new arrangements, you know?
I was the new kid on the block. Imagine how that was.
Oh, man.
After the gig, I'd go and open a convention room in
Yeah.
a hotel if I wasn't doing something else, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
And I'd practice because for the next gig. In fact, I used to push him. He liked that.
Yeah.
You know? Alien Orifice, when I was finally ready for Alien Orifice.
Yeah.
I pushed him.
Well,
And I remember him coming on the stage, we better play Alien. He said, we better rehearse Alien Orifice or I'm going to be mud tonight, meaning I'm going to be really pissed off at him. And he was loving that, you know, that I could push him as well, because I was enjoying the push he was giving me. What a challenge to develop that kind of retention. Yeah. But I must say that when I called Gail recently, I just wanted to take her out to dinner. I haven't been to the house since. I've been mostly in this country, is the reason. We were going to go out and then she couldn't. She said, just blow by, just come over, you know. I'm going to do that, but God, you know, I reckon it's going to be a bit hard, first off.
It is.
You know, it's going to be tough because he was so much a homebody that every part of that house that I hung out in,
was,
the studio and the other video room, you know, where we used to hang out a lot, and then into the kitchen and the office, and occasionally we'd go out to dinner. I mean, amazingly enough, right? We went out.
He didn't do that.
No, we went out. Oh yeah,
we went out on the road a lot.
Oh yeah, no, on the road a lot. But
it was
at
at home.
one night I was there and he said to go, let's go out for dinner. I said, Frank, we're going out.
Right.
We're going out. You know, and we were talking about school and the kids, and everybody else was sort of staring at what are they talking about, because they every head turned when Frank was in LA. And they're pretty blasé in LA, but when Frank walked around, they were very, very aware of his presence.
A friend of mine, when I first got with him, I went out to eat on the road with Frank and brought my friend along, and he said, he goes, he doesn't hang out, he holds court. You know, he just had that weight to him. You know, he's definitely one of the heaviest.
Except when it was Gail and I and himself, it wasn't like that because she's strong.
No, I mean, I think
a bit different.
Yeah, you get used to it.
He was a little different.
You get
with the
used
wife.
to it. You know, you get used.
I guess maybe I was getting used to it. Maybe you're right.
Yeah,
I was pretty.
But
used
I don't
to
think it goes away. I mean, because he didn't. You know, his that energy didn't go away.
No.
You know, it was there all the time.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you talked about, you know, it was there. It was like 12 notches beyond what you were thinking, and it made a left.
Yeah, it definitely made some left.
Yeah, I mean,
very sharp left. Very interesting.
Really,
I can see that, you know, you were very consumed with Frank, as we all were. And there was always that point, you know, where you have to break into the band, you know. I mean, I got the gig the same night, and George Duke got the gig the same night, and Steve and yourself. And as good as I thought I was, there was still that thing I had to get through to get used to that way of doing things with Frank and being able to play really the way to fit in with the concept. And he knew that. He was expecting it, you know, because halfway through one tour he just said, "No, come on, now you're acclimatized now. You know, there's no excuse anymore."
You're a vet.
Yeah, that's it. You're a vet, and he understood that he goes through that with everybody, and that's an enormous breakthrough, a challenge for musicians, because it seems like everyone that I speak to has gone through that with him.
Yeah.
You know, and I thought George Duke could do anything blindfolded, but he went through it too.
Sure,
Great.
Absolutely.
George, he's brilliant.
Yeah, but then there's those moments when Zappa would compliment you, and you just feel like, oh man. And I've like listed some of these things so I can take it with me, and when I feel blue, you know, read these little things in my life that have been
lovely.
like peak experiences.
I know which one you're talking about too. It's the one where he called a drum solo
a piece of music. That was one of them for sure. Yeah.
Do you know that, Alan?
Did you ask for more money right away? Frank, that's great, Frank. Beautiful. Keep talking.
You just finished doing a drum solo. You were talking about, I know this, you were talking about Stravinsky and different things, and you walked
20th
up
century classical music.
and you finished a solo and everyone was doing the normal thing, and he went up and said that wasn't just a drum solo, that was a piece of music.
Nice.
How did you feel when he said that on stage?
Proud as punch. Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really sink in. You know, it's the kind of thing at 45, I'm writing this down and going, you know, don't forget that, you know, when you're feeling like, you know,
Well, you
like
know,
you're worthless. You know?
You know, when someone asks you some advice as to, well, should I lay out here or do this there, and you go, no problem, you handle it, and you go, or you even suggest it. The night I rehearsed with Frank, that first night, he said, well, how is it? Should I lay out there? Because I was doing my piano solo. I mean, is it okay if I play? Are you comfortable with that? Or should I lay out there? And I thought, normally I could handle this situation. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
I said, oh, no, it's okay. I said, oh, I'm pretty strong. I'll go, yeah, maybe you better. Or lay out. Or I sort of had to really think about it for a minute. He really affected me. And I was a little bit stuck for words, which is a rarity. Well, I think we should let
Terry go.
Let Terry go because he wants to just meditate a little bit.
I haven't told you, Terry.
Let's go.
I have a band called the Zappa Instrumental, and we do all of Zappa's music. We're playing at the club. Alan's played with us, and we're playing 2 blocks up the road straight afterwards. And this is an open invitation.
Oh
for you to
man,
come.
well that may be something we'll not have to pass up. Well, are you playing late?
Yeah, we're starting straight after this. I'm staying here, and then I'll shoot through, and I have to do the final bits of the PA. And
what time will you finish?
And we'll be going through to 1 in the morning.
Oh, cool.
So
maybe we can grab a meal and then come by and catch the end.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
I've got everything lined up there. We do Alien Orifice, we do Black Page.
Oh,
You know,
Excellent.
it's a dedication to
The Black Page?
No, Eleanor?
No, I
I
don't.
don't remember. It's somewhere in there, but I don't remember them at the time.
I never memorized
still play
the
the
Black
Black Page?
Page. No,
Maybe
I
I've
haven't.
forgotten
I was thinking about getting it together, but I never.
They asked me to play with them recently, or a few months ago, I said, oh, you know, none of that stuff, because if King Kong, that'll do, I can read that. I just said, I excited with it. You know, never
wanted him to
actually
do
played it.
Redemption.
Let's do King Kong, that's fine, we'll do that. And of course we went crazy, we had a great time. But
Yeah.
to do the other stuff, you know, it's, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I hope I do it justice.
Well, come on then, we better go
Just
and
have
let him go. Yeah.
Terry, thank you very much for letting us into your
Thank you,
world.
It's a pleasure.
It's
Great
absolute
to see you.
In the last few months, I met Steve and you, and that's a double whammy.
What can I say?
That's great.
Thanks.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
scolded him for using a drum machine. How can you do, Terry? You do that? Besides, you sound like me playing drums. Everything comes in just at the right time.
Yeah.
Funny.
Okay, guys. See you in a
Thank you
bit.
so much.